Right, hello then folks. As you probably saw in the last video, I had this Reximex Ixia out on the range testing 8 different pellets. Made a good account of itself, not really pellet fussy. One of the pellets didn't get on with were the Barracuda extremes, but they were oxidised, and I think that was causing that problem. The other ones, the Bisley, not the long range gold, but there was a Bisley one that weren't quite so tight, but I think if it was leaded in a bit more, that would tighten up as well, but all the rest was pretty good. So the reason I'm doing this video is before I did the accuracy test with it, I got a message from Dennis Naylor, who this belongs to say he'd got an air leak. So I fixed the leak, no problems. And I let Dennis know, and he says, oh, did you film it? And I didn't. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to strip the rifle down, show you the process of getting to the valve. So if you've got a leaky valve, and if you've got a leaky valve, you know it's the valve leak because you'll get air leaking through the breech and out of the barrel. If it's leaking from those areas, the problem is at the valve. If it's leaking air and it's not leaking out the breech in the valve, it's more likely to be your inlet valve that's leaking. But anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the process of stripping the rifle down, and then if you have a problem that's out of warranty, you'll know how to do it. There's an anti-tamper to remove on the valve like there is on all Reximex rifles in the UK. Once that's removed, you can get to the valve, clean it up, or replace the valve seat. The difference between the Mark 1 and the Mark 2, which this was on this Mark 2, is the valve. In the Mark 1 they used a poppet valve, and in the Mark 2 they used a stainless steel valve with a delrin valve seat. Now they're a lot better really, because all you need to do with that is just either clean it up, and if it's still leaking, you just replace the valve seat. It costs about £6 from Bagnall and Kirkwood, somewhere like that. It's no more than £6.50. So by the time you've got your postage, it's going to cost you about a tenner. So probably worthwhile buying some spares. So all you need to do is basically replace the valve seat and problem solved. So what's good about this rifle? Well, when it came out, this was the flagship of Reximex. It probably still is in some respects as a hunter. Since this came out, they brought out one called the Meta. Started off with a cylinder, and it got basically like field target hook, butt plate and monopod. So it's more or less geared up for target shooting. But then that evolved. You got the Meta Plus and the Meta Plus Pro with the carbon bottle. You can get these with carbon bottles as well. They've got a nice little carbine version, which is shorter. But yeah, very nice rifle. More or less a take on the FX Impact, poor man's Impact really. It's got a regulator on it. You can see there's your valve, your bottle pressure, regulator pressure. You can swap out the barrels. This dial on the front, that is what holds the barrel in. So you just unscrew that, take your shroud off, pull the barrel off, and then you need to take the top plate off and just get pellet probe out the back. So you need to take the stock off to do that, but you take that out the back. It has, right on the back there, that's your hammer spring adjustment, and then on the other side you've got choke adjustment there. So it's a fully regulated rifle in sub 12 foot-pounds. You can dial the power down. In FAC versions, you've got all that adjustability there. It comes in 177, 22 and 25. Most shops in the UK sell them in 177 and 22, although you can request a 25 because they do them on all the rifles, they do. But anyway, I'm going to start off. I'm going to get the scope off. I'm going to show you how to degas the rifle, and that's probably one of the most important things you'll need to do. So I'll get the scope off, and I'll show you how to degas the rifle, and we'll take it from there. So let's get on with the test. Okay then folks, I've got about 3 cameras set up, so hopefully based on that we should get some decent views. Right, let's start off. Get a scope off. Now, this one's a nice scope. It's from Discovery Opt. Around 200 quid, I think. It's one of the armoured scopes. Heavy shock scope. Side focus, illuminated reticle. Nice scopes. So, that's the scope off. Let's take the bipod off. Right, and next thing we need to do is remove the front Picatinny rail. So let's crack that open. Picatinny rails off, and they can get to the burst disc. So that's where we bleed the rifle. We give it time to get down through the air. And there we are. I believe that's where your burst disc is as well. But you can fill these rifles up to 250 bar. It is regulated, so it shouldn't make any effect on your shots or pressure by filling it all the way up. You should get plenty of shots from it. It'd probably take about a minute, 2 minutes to bleed all the air from the bottle. Oh, and it feels cold when you release air fast. Everything goes cold. When you fill them up fast, everything goes hot. Okay, so I believe that's empty. Soon find out. Yeah, it's empty because you can undo the bottle. So I'm going to do that next. So that's the bottle off. Just going to tighten that back up, because if you end up forgetting, air's going to start leaking out when you try filling it up. Now we notice that there's still air in the plenum behind the reg, so we need to cock the rifle. Safe to catch. I just see the dial going down on each shot. Shows you how much air's in that plenum, doesn't it? Now if you had an high power rifle, that'd soon go. It's all 12. I think that's it. Yeah, about 10 shots maybe just to empty it. One more. Is that going down any? It still is going down actually. Oh, I heard that. That sounded different. Yeah, we're empty. You could hear the crack of the hammer. So the rifle is now empty of any air. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take off, I'm going to try and make it a bit smaller. Basically going to take off the shroud. So start unwinding that. Over there, quite long threads on these. And this particular rifle cost probably about 50 quid more than standard rifles, because it's got a finish on it. I think this is like the skeleton finish. I think they use the hydro dip stuff on. So that's the shroud off. And then now the shroud's off, we can unwind the actual screw on the right to pull the barrel out. So just a bit of a twist and a pull, and that's the barrel out. I'm sure we'll just pull these one side. So that's getting the rifle a bit smaller. Right, next thing we need to be doing is removing the stock. Now, to remove the stock, you need to take off the actual hammer spring adjuster. Now, under the right hand side of the hammer adjuster, there is a spring and a ball bearing, which is a detent for each of the power settings on it. So you have to be careful when you do it, that spring don't shoot out and get rid of that ball bearing, because you'll never find it again. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to loosen off that. I think it's what we got. Not sure, is it that one? That's bigger than that. It's probably 3mm actually. So yeah, so you can undo that. More. So that's that. That's that. Right, what might be a good idea on it is to get a marker and just mark off. I don't know if that's going to show up. Should have a different pen, but these have to be lined up the right way on when you go back. Otherwise, you'll find that it turns by 180, but if it's on the wrong side, it's opposite to the actual setting. So what we need to do now is keep your hand underneath, shove that through a bit. But what you'll see a little hole there. And I think that's been put there so you can stick a pin through it, especially when you put it back together, because it's a bit of a pain in the arse, this one. Very fiddly, because the only thing that's stopping the hammer spring from springing back is the actual power adjuster cam. But if you can get that in and get it behind the spring, you can do it when you put it back together, but when it comes out, the spring's putting pressure on this. So that's come through now. And if you look, you can see there's a cap on the end of the spring, and that's pushing against the actual cam. So what I'm going to do to take the pressure off is using the hook on that. I'm going to pull that back on that if I can, and hopefully get this out without any problems. Okay, so that's now out. Talking about ball bearings, there's your ball bearing. It's in one of the holes on it, just there. And when we turn the rifle over, you can see the spring just here. So just pull your spring out. For some reason that is a bit damaged, but put that in first. I have get the ball bearing. So ball bearing sits on top of that spring. Well, anyway, ball bearing, there's a spring. Oh, this is what I mean when it's dead fiddly when you put it back together. That fits on top of the spring, and then you basically got to shove that in while at the same time putting pressure on the hammer spring to make room for it. So it is a bit fiddly, but they're the fiddly bits. So I believe the different size screws on here. So what we're going to do next is get this off the can. I'll use the 4, I think. So if you've got an Allen key, just stick it in, that flips that up. It's a 5 Allen bolt that needs to come out of the pistol grip area. I think you heard that fall out. And I think the back one's a bit smaller. Yeah, that's a full. So we'll get that out. Alright, you can pull it from the front end. That slides off like that. I think what I'll do, I'm going to shove that in there so it don't get lost. Put the cap back on. We'll stick that there. Well, that's still in, that's okay, that's still threaded into that, so that's not coming out anyway. Right, so that's the stock off. Now, if I push back on that, I can get the hammer cap out. Now that's cut down a bit. So it's got a bung in the back there. Okay. So, that's your rear block and your front block. So things we need to do now. I think I'll start off with going to the trigger. You'll see like a sleeve there that fits on. That covers the rod that goes into the trigger. See what size that is. No. I think this one's probably a 2. There's one on each side. So just take that one out. This one on that side. And the trigger itself, the shoe, that will need coming off. I think that's all one. So just loosen. All we need to do is loosen that. Right, this is where I start removing pins, but before I remove the pins, I'm going to remove the top cover. I think that's a 2 as well. Yeah. And there's 2 screws in this. Right, so you can lift that, you lift it and pull it, because on the front you'll see there's 2 tabs, or that slides in the slot there. So I'm not removing the screws, I'm going to leave them in place in that top cover. Now this is where I'm moving on to the pin. Alright, it needs to be done from this side, looking at it. So there's a pin just there on the safety catch. Okay, that's going through now, so what I'm going to do is shove that through if I can. A bit more. Oh, I'm glad I caught that. So I'm going to pull that out. So that's your little pin. That's the cover, and under that cover there was a spring, and that sat on it. Just there. So I'm going to leave that with the cover and the pin just down there. So now we can take the shoe off, and we can take the cover off. Okay, so they're all together. Now there's a little pin just here that needs coming out. So what we need to do is check both sides, see if there's a fatter part than there is. Sometimes they're a bit tapered, some of the pins. I'll do it from that side again. So there's a pin in that, just there. Once you get them started, so the pins come out, very small. Pull that out, and put that little pin there. So that's a pin from the back. So on the back rod you'll find a spring. Well, that spring goes this side of the block. So then again, when we're going to move that off, that's looking like a 3mm again. So from here, yeah, I'm going to loosen those off. What's that one? Is that a 3? It is, yeah. So I'm going to get rid of these. So the springs you've got to worry about then is 2 so far. It's the spring behind the power adjuster and the spring under the safety catch, which is part of the actual trigger guard. Quite unique, really. Basically close it for safe and drop it down to fire. So take that off. I can push that up and pull it out, so your top rod can now be slid out, and that's there. Now moving onto the top, I'm going to take off the actual top rail. I think that's a 4. Okay, now this front end will lift, it should do. You can take some of the tension off of that. That should lift out. No, hang on, forgot. There's 2 screws either side. One next to the Ixia and one on the other side, which tells you what calibre we are. Pop those there. So you just undo both of these. Trying to on that one. Yeah. So that's that one out. Same with this one. There we go. That front lifts. Probably is a pin actually. Yeah. Yeah. It was a pin. It will pull out now. There we go. Shove that back. There we go. So it's off now. So what I'm going to do, so I don't lose the pin, I'm going to put the pin back in there, like that. Okay. This is a top pick rail. Right, from this point then, got the front and rear block. What you will need to do, under the little bridge there, it was holding the bottom railing, there's an anti-tamper. The top one is a snap-off screw. You drill through it, and what I used, I'll just show you. Basically, these are reverse drill bits and extractors. Now sometimes you can just use a reverse drill bit on snap-off screws, and what it will do, as soon as it bites in, it will pull it out. But in this case it didn't, so I 3 drill bits to drill the hole, and then I took out the extractor and basically, won't be that one, it was the smaller one. Basically I put it through the hole that I drilled at a slight angle, screwed and pulled, and that pulled the actual anti-tamper cap out, and then I was able to get to the nut inside. I believe, let's have a look. I think it's 3mm. Basically, when you take the anti-tamper cap off, you can then get the nut out like that. This then allows you to pull out the back block, which then shows you the valve. There's your valve stem. Now at the front, there's your plenum there. At the front you've got the well, there's your front of your block. At the back of the block you've got the regulator pressure valve, so just here you've got your regulator. So you can, I think I'll put pliers on it or something, you can undo that and you'll see the valve. But also at the front, just there, there's another anti-tamper. That's to get that off, and that's probably where you get the reg out from if you need to get to the reg, but it's a sub 12, you don't need to. There's plenty of power in it. So, right at the back, you'll see two markings there in white. It's what will line up the valve with the plenum. And what you'll need to do is just get a spanner to fit around that, or an adjustable spanner, and then you'll be able to undo the actual valve. It can be quite a tight fit, and sometimes you'll need to put it in a soft jawed vise to do it. I'm not sure what size this is. Trying to remember now. Yeah, that should do it. Yeah, it's definitely my way. You'll just need to put it in a soft jawed vise just to get it started, and that's that bit there. So now you can unscrew the valve. So that's the valve out. Same again with that one. Put that in the vise, you can take that off, and then there's a little flat on either side. So you put another spanner on that to get the that right. Yeah, so all you need to do then to get into your valve, to remove the brass cap. Behind that there'll be a spring, and your stainless steel valve. So that pulls out. There's your stainless steel valve and spring. And inside, come on, Mr. Valve, come on out. Valve seat. Put that there a minute. Got a feeling that's off the trigger. Yeah, let's just put that in there. There we go. Now they've got these on the same sort of system on, there we go. Got these on Hatsons. Basically that is your valve seat. It's a round delrin circle with a rubber O-ring on the outside. And all I did, I basically got some silicone spray, cleaned up with some kitchen towel, and that stopped the leak. So there must have been a bit of grit or something, because sometimes no matter how clean you try and make things, when you put your attachment on the bottle, there could be dust in the air even. It'll just blow it through and it'll leave a gap. But basically that is it. So that is how you get to your valve to clean it. Okay then folks, so that is the process of stripping down so you can get to your exhaust valve and replace or clean up the valve in case you've got a leak at the valve. Some fiddly parts there, but I hope I've shown you how you can help improve on getting it sorted. That's it for now, and I'll catch you in the next video.